Welcome to r/MaliciousCompliance, where we share stories of people conforming to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. Thank you, friends, for subscribing to the channel, and for so many likes. The first story. I found out my fiancé is with me for money and family business, and after that he lost everything. The second story. Karen thought I was digging in her garden, but it was my garden, and then something happened that shocked me. The third story. Your job is not to check the property. Just pack it up and label it with your name. Okay, I agree with you. Today's first story is, I found out my fiancé is with me for my money. To preface, my family owns a business that's very well known in our sector and makes loads of profit. Thus, I am a trust fund baby. I try not to be spoiled and have always worked myself. I met my fiancé Mark when I was 20 and working as a waitress. We began dating a few months later and he proposed to me last year. Now, Mark is not poor. He's upper middle class. And while he doesn't struggle in life, he didn't have much to spend and live very frugal. I thought he was an honest man, because he always wanted to pay for his own things, reject expensive family holidays when we were still dating, and he would cook for me instead of going with me dining outside. What I want to say is that I never had the impression that Mark was trying to take advantage of me or my family. In the beginning, my family was a little sketched out and brought up the gold digger argument, and I stood up for him and fought with my dad. They came to love and accept him. When Mark graduated, Dad hired him and now he's in a high-earning position. Sunday, I was supposed to work in the evening, and I was going to stay with my sister. But I got a fever and was basically just non-functioning, so I stayed home. Instead of staying in our bedroom, I made my way to the guest room that's better ventilated. Has a mini fridge and its own bathroom. I didn't want to stand up at all and walk around, so I just bunkered all my stuff there and closed the door. Mark came home when I was fast asleep, and I was woken up by loud voices in our garden. I pushed the curtains a bit to the side and Mark was there with a few friends. Just as I wanted to say hello, I noticed that they were talking about me. His friend kept laughing and calling Mark the man. Then they started laughing about me being willing to not sign a prenup. Then one of the girls that was there said something along the lines of, "Jesus, you're about to make some bank, Mark." Mark laughed and said, "Yeah, just 3 more years and I'm free." At this moment, I felt sick to my stomach and wanted to throw up. I kept hearing them calling me trust fund Barbie and stupid and so on. I didn't know what to do, so I just lied petrified in my bed and waited till the people left and Mark went to bed. I texted my sister and snuck out to her place in the middle of the night and just passed out without telling her anything. I haven't returned home and just told Mark that I was sick and didn't want to make him sick. My sister has been really worried, but I just feel so ashamed about everything. My family was right. Mark is a gold digger and I fell for it. Even if I tell my family what happened, I have no proof. My father can't fire him just because he's a D. As far as I know, he's excellent at what he does, and has no legal foot to fire him, I think. I just feel so confused, ashamed, and angry, and would appreciate some insight. Edit. We are non-US. Mark wasn't talking about anything else. He has no debt as he partly was under a scholarship, and with part of it I helped pay it off. There's no way he wasn't talking about me. Edit 2. Thank you all for your great advice. I opened up to my sister about it and she's right now with me reading all your responses. We've called up Dad and I will talk to him tomorrow. I will be signing out for the time being, thanks again. Edit 3. Some questions have come up. I don't drive, that's why my fiancé didn't see my car. I mostly Uber around. I worked as a waitress for the experience, not for the money, and I don't any longer. I don't work for my father. I'm a company shareholder and I have to go to the general quarter meetings. But I don't work for him. I'm sure that it wasn't a fever dream. It was around 38.5 Celsius, and while it was enough for my body to hurt, it wasn't enough to have a vivid dream. By pass out at my sister's, I don't literally mean medically passing out. Update 2. Edit. Because you have to spoon feed people every tiny bit of information or this gets written off as fake, obviously the lawyer didn't draft a prenup from zero in half an hour. I do have siblings. I do have cousins and some of them are engaged and married. Thus we've already established prenups to go. Also, we didn't need a bulletproof prenup for this. I just wanted to see his reaction. Serving him with a boilerplate prenup would have served the same purpose. Also, no, I didn't ruin his life. He will not be fired. He will not be badmouthed in any kind of way. He still has all the opportunities in the world to succeed. I thought I made it clear that I gave him notice for eviction, meaning he had days to leave the property. That's why I'm staying with my sister. It's not a done deal, it's still in progress, but the biggest steps have been made. Jesus, people. First of all, I want to clarify some questions that came up in the OP. Mark couldn't have seen my car and known I was home because I don't have a car. I don't drive, I Uber around. Driving makes me anxious and I only do it when necessary. I don't work as a waitress anymore. I worked for the time I was in uni. Mark wasn't hired as a high exec right away. He didn't take the job from anyone. He started as a normal intern and worked his way up. They weren't joking. They have never made that kind of remarks in my presence. Also, I doubt calling me a stupid trust fund Barbie qualifies as a joke. Update. I was tempted to play the long game and lead him on, but I decided to just present him with a prenup to look into his reaction. After telling my dad, we invited Mark for lunch and would serve him the prenup up there. However, to be sure about things, I asked him if he had had anyone over, because our neighbors had complained about loud noises. He said yes, that his buddies were there. He didn't mention the girls that I saw. We finished lunch and Dad served him the papers saying that it was a must for getting married. You could instantly see that he didn't expect this. He got angry and asked me to speak to him alone. We went into the other room and he began babbling about blindsiding him. That just really felt like a personal attack. He was trying so hard to sell me the role of victim and making me out to be the villain. Then he just said that he needed to think everything through and left. I have to admit I kinda broke down and began second-guessing myself, but I could keep it together. My family happily didn't pull the I told you so's. We looked into everything and I have the legal right to evict him. The lawyer handled everything, wrote an official eviction notice, and after a lot of talk, Dad decided to present Mark with a deal so that he would leave the company. After that was all sorted out, I decided to just simply text, as one of you suggested, "Hey Mark, Trust Fund Barbie here. As you said you'd be free in 3 years, I'll do you a big favor and set you free now. Kisses OP." My phone completely blew up with Mark's messages after I sent that. He texted and called me so many times I had to switch off my phone. He came to my sister's place as he wanted to explain the situation. He promised that it was just a joke like a million times. I said it wasn't cutting it. They disrespected me in my own house, and I didn't want to be with someone that puts me down in order to appear better. He pleaded, he cried, he begged me not to end things. When I wasn't budging, he got mad at me, accusing me of spying on him and ruining his life. Honestly, I don't know. Then his manner changed once again to apologetic. He eventually owned up to the comment he made, still insisting that it was just an SH joke. And then when I asked him why he didn't tell me about those random girls that appeared to know so much about me, he told me this weird story of them being cousins from one of his buddies, that they know of me because of my Instagram. SH is private and I have like 30 followers. I stood strong and I ended things with him. I will never know what exactly his plan was, but it's better to have things this way. We still have to sort out some financial stuff, but after that, I won't ever see Mark again. The second story is, Karen threatens to get me arrested for gardening my garden. Title says it all. Because the groundhog had no shadow, spring came early, so I decided to weed the garden strip that borders mine and Karen's property. There's a fence between the garden and her house. While doing so, I get rid of some of my day lilies that are on my property. I finish, return to my house, and continue my day, until I hear a shriek from the side of my house. I rush over because I'm scared someone got hurt, and Karen, who just got home from work, asks why I got rid of her lilies. I say that they were my lilies and that I was making space for tomatoes, cucumbers, and carrots. She then calls the police because I had destroyed her property. The police come and basically tell her to go inside and shut up, because it's pretty clear whose flowers they were. The cops will vouch that she was being a pest before, and had a reason to destroy the garden. Update, 22nd of March 2020. This is an update to a previous post of mine, but I feel like this is big enough to warrant its own post. In my previous post, I explained that a woman flipped out over the fact that I had taken daylilies out of my garden, in preparation for some vegetables and such I was going to plant. In the comments, some had suggested that I put a camera facing the garden in case Karen decides that the tomatoes look like they're on her side of the property line. My aunt, who's not entitled, was switching from Arlo to Ring Home Security, so she sent me those. They arrived the morning of the fire, so no video. That aside, I did not expect Karen to do this. Yesterday, Karen got mega drunk, like multiple cases of beer drunk. I don't know what she was drinking, but she had obviously had a lot of it, and this put her anger over the edge about the loss of my lilies. She went with wood and fire starter to my neighbor's house, the one on the opposite side of her house than mine, and lit their bins on fire. This spread to their porch and their entire home was alight. I'm a light sleeper and living in a cul-de-sac was woken up by the orange haze floating through my windows. I called 911 the whole shebang, witness report and everything. And as I went out with the 911 operator on the phone, this SH bag gives the confession. After a while and as the fire department shows up, she realizes her mistakes. 1, she lit a house on fire, and 2, she lit the wrong house on fire. She's being charged with arson and the like, and everyone got out. There's a mother, father, and 2 kids who are high schoolers. It still feels surreal. The last story is, I exposed my manager as a hypocrite. Backstory. I work in a residential facility for people on probation. They can serve out a sentence there on work release, or if they're sentenced to our drug treatment program. So they come and go a lot. Part of my job is sending anything new they bring back to the property office to be inventoried or held as contraband. Stuff that isn't illegal but they can't have it in the facility, like chewing tobacco. They're not allowed to bring outside food or drinks, so part of my job is throwing it away if it's perishable or unwrapped. This guy returned with a bag of burgers and burritos. His job was throwing away, so I disposed of it, and he complained to the policy compliance manager who runs the property office. She told me that I had to get with that client for financial reimbursement. I tried getting her to understand that I threw the stuff away because it would not keep back in the office as her own policy states, and she didn't care. Her words to me were, property officers are the ones who sort through the property for contraband or disposable items. Your job is not to review the property. Just bag it up and label it with their name. Everything goes through property. She even underlined the word everything in her email. It felt like she was making up her own rules despite what policy said, because she didn't want to deal with a complaining work release inmate. The malicious compliance. Yesterday, a client returned with a half-eaten bag lunch we provide people leaving for work, in case they can't feed themselves. I saw my opportunity. I did exactly what you think and sent a brown bag of half-eaten sandwich and cornbread to be inventoried as property. I saw her email today going off on me for being passive-aggressive, or that I need to be retrained. She normally doesn't CC anyone else in her emails about issues, but she did today. My direct supervisor, the operations commander, and the duty director were all included, so they could see her bee me out over the half-eaten food I sent her staff. She must have felt like Obi-Wan having the high ground. Too bad she did in fact underestimate my power. I included even more supervisory staff in my response, and directly quoted her original emails to me, and pointed out that she told me her staff were the ones that throw things away, and that I was to bag and tag everything. I was later told by my laughing supervisor that the director himself laughed, as he told her, "You told him to send you everything. You can't get upset because he did what you said." Edit. Some of the comment notifications I'm getting are from people apparently really upset that I'm throwing food away. While I do agree it's important to look out for people trying to get their life together on probation, please let me reassure you that we feed them 3 meals a day in our cafeteria, make them food trays to be saved for later in a fridge set aside specifically for people who miss meals due to their work schedule, and always have bag lunches made fresh daily for them to take with them when they leave. There are even vending machines available to them. We're not starving them if they are trying to bring in outside food. The rules about outside food are made clear to them day one. Chill. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Have a great day.